Sometimes artists go from being the most loved in their genre to simply no longer existing. They become a case of, oh, where's that artist again? These kinds of artists fall off for different reasons, like bad management, questionable opinions, and more. So here are different artists that went from being number one to a topic of the past. Close to the end of 2019, Lana Del Rey began to gain attention, and rightfully so, because her songs were poetic, even though they had a darker side to them, which was the romanticization of abuse. But in 2020, out of the blue, Lana Del Rey went on a rant on her social media because that display could not have been a public service announcement. In the lengthy letter that she posted on Instagram, she wrote, "Now that Doja Cat, Ariana, Camila, Cardi B, Kehlani, and Nicki Minaj and Beyonce have had number ones with songs about being sexy, wearing no clothes, cheating, etc., can I please go back to singing about being embodied, feeling beautiful by being in love even if the relationship is not perfect, or dancing for money, or whatever I want without being crucified for saying that I'm glamorizing abuse?" No, the letter didn't end there, so if you are already feeling your blood boil, just sit tight because it gets progressively worse. Continuing the letter, she wrote, "I'm fed up with female writers and alt singers saying that I glamorize abuse, when in reality, I'm just a glamorous person singing about the realities of what we are all now seeing are very prevalent emotionally abusive relationships all over the world." Going further into the letter, Lana Del Rey wrote, "I also feel it really paved the way for other women to stop putting on a happy face and to just be able to say whatever the hell they wanted to in their music. Unlike my experience where if I expressed a note of sadness in my first two records, I was deemed literally hysterical, as though it was literally the 1920s. In essence, Lana Del Rey was complaining about the fact that critics said she sets women back by centuries with her songs because she sings about being submissive while glamorizing abuse. When it comes to the topic of submission in relationships, people are careful around it because of the unrealistic expectations placed on women. But for Lana Del Rey, it was a beautiful relationship dynamic where one person had to see how much hurt they could endure before getting love. But what was most off-putting about the letter was the fact that Lana Del Rey name-dropped different female artists to downgrade their music and say that hers was better and more feminine. Lana is no doubt talented, but going to that length when nobody even calls you out is so unnecessary. After the long rant, Lana reminded her followers that she was releasing a poetry book, which just made everything weird. Her fans and fans of the artist she mentioned began to call her out, telling her that she didn't have to talk about other artists like that. Lana Del Rey mentioned over 4 women of color in her rant, which seemed like a microaggression, and people pointed that out. It was so bad that even Doja Cat and Ariana Grande had to tell her privately that they didn't like their names being mentioned in those kinds of settings. Instead of apologizing, Lana Del Rey doubled down on her statement by saying people were trying to incite a race war. Apart from her views on race and her occasional rants on social media trying to defend herself when no one was talking about her, Lana Del Rey also seemed to be blind to social issues. When Donald Trump stormed the Capitol in 2021, Lana Del Rey tried to blame it on a perceived mental health issue by claiming that the former president had a false sense of grandeur. 5 people died as a result of that supposed false sense of grandeur. When she was called out for the problematic comment, she went on to claim that the issue of America wasn't capitalism, but narcissism and sociopathy, and the world should be grateful to her for highlighting the problem. If that isn't narcissism itself, what could it be? Ever since all her indirect racist talk, like claiming that because she dated rappers, she can't be racist, or her defending the storming of the Capitol, and even wearing a mesh mask during COVID and never apologizing for anything, her career has taken a really bad dip. Now, when Lana Del Rey releases anything, she's met with heavy criticism before people even give it a listen. That's what happens when you avoid accountability and bank on victimhood to save you. Another artist that was tone deaf to a sensitive topic was Macklemore, and if you haven't heard the name in a while, let us explain why. In 2014, Macklemore came onto the rap scene with Thrift Shop, which was a bop and had older moms vibing to the song. The song spent 6 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Top 100, which was an amazing feat for a new artist. However, it seemed like he was going to be a one-hit wonder, because while the song was chilling at number 1, he didn't look like he was up to anything. Actually, Macklemore was seen as cringe by the hip-hop community because he seemed like a regular white boy who didn't fit the aesthetic in both his dress sense and other ways. But Macklemore proved the haters wrong by releasing Can't Hold Us, which also went up to number 1 on the charts. It was obvious that the rapper loved his craft for him to have 2 songs at #1 within the first year of his career. But when things began to go sour was when Macklemore got 7 nominations at the 2014 Grammys. He was nominated for the Best Rap Song of the Year category for his song Thrift Shop, and the other artists in that category included Drake, Kanye West, and other top names in the game. But somehow, Macklemore won, and everyone accepted it. To add salt to the injury, Macklemore then won Rap Album of the Year against Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, and even Jay-Z's album. Except you were dishonest. Everyone in the hip-hop community knew that was daylight robbery. Even Macklemore, who went ahead to text Kendrick. In the text he wrote, "You got robbed. I wanted you to win. You should have. It's weird and sucks that I robbed you. I was gonna say that during the speech. Then the music started playing during my speech and I froze. Anyway, you know what it is. Congrats on this year and your music. Appreciate you as an artist and as a friend. Much love." It was obvious that Macklemore had sent the message in good faith, but he also went ahead to share the text with the world because he was likely trying to remain on the good side of history. But the deed had been done, and there was no going back from there. Kendrick Lamar initially didn't have an issue with the text until Macklemore posted it, which was just going overboard. There was no apology that could help Macklemore get his space back in the industry because Kendrick Lamar is too loved by the hip-hop community for that level of embarrassment. Most lovers of the genre use the disrespect to Lamar as an opportunity to get rid of Macklemore. Although the artist didn't stop dropping songs, he was only getting noticed by his closest fans, and that's a lesson in watching what you share on social media. And while artists like Macklemore nearly disappeared after an error, DaBaby has been suffering from inconsistency from his fans and people who just listen to music. His case is quite similar to Lana Del Rey's, but he apologized when the situation got worse. But let's start from the top. During the 2021 Rolling Loud concert, DaBaby was brought on stage for his performance right after Megan Thee Stallion finished her set. To everyone's surprise, DaBaby invited Tory Lanez to join him on stage. If you didn't know, Tory Lanez was accused of shooting Megan Thee Stallion's foot, and most people didn't believe her. If DaBaby was going to bring him on stage, that's cool. But bringing him up right after his victim was just insensitive. But we get to see a deeper level to the insensitivity as the show progressed. During his set, DaBaby decided to interact with the audience and just completely flopped. In his words, he said, "If you didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, or any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2 to 3 weeks, then put your cell phone lighter up. Ladies, if your smell like water, put your cell phone lighter up. Fellas, if you ain't sucking in the parking lot, put your cell phone lighter up." DaBaby was making sexist, homophobic, and every kind of wrong comments. Before you run ahead to say people are too sensitive and whatnot, other people's choices and bodies shouldn't bother you so much. In fact, you should be more concerned about bettering your life without trying to judge others for their sexuality. After DaBaby was called out, he doubled down on his statement and started to show faux support for the LGBTQ community by claiming that his gay fans know how to keep themselves clean. Well, his support didn't do anything because Dua Lipa took his verse off the remix of her song Levitating. Just like clockwork, DaBaby retracted his statement and dropped an apology on Twitter, which read, "Anybody who done ever been affected by AIDS, HIV, y'all got the right to be upset. What I said was insensitive, even though I have no intentions on offending anybody. So, my apologies." But DaBaby's apology was rendered useless when he tweeted afterwards that people misinterpreted what he did, but he was impressed by the outcome. From there on, everything was a downward spiral as corporations like Blue Man Group ended their contract with him, and artists started to cut ties with him. After the incident, he canceled 7 different tours because of low ticket sales. If you are going to be loud and wrong because your opinions matter too much for you to think twice about dropping them, then be prepared for the consequences.